Hi there. It's so wonderful to be with you again in a new year, 2018. It's a year of absolute abundance. I believe this is going to be a year that's going to have such an impact on all of our lives. So, with Let's Talk Business, we can talk so much again, you see, because so much is happening, so much has been happening. And a lot is even waiting us. It's like a new season that comes and goes. And even in business, I thought, one of the stuff that I first of all want to discuss with you early this year is exactly that. There are things. There's like, like everything in life. There's order. There's a reason why there's a winter. There's a reason why there's summer. There's a reason for all the seasons, and it's amazing if you actually stick to it, how easy your life becomes. It's when we sort of force a winter when it's supposed to be summer. It's when we start to force eating, products that comes out of season. It's actually not really the time for it if you think about it. Your body, there's a time for everything, and because it's hot, there are certain fruits that we eat, and the fruit is in season. There's so much order, and it's amazing how we can take that seasons out of time, and we disturb what is actually supposed to happen in that specific time, in that specific moment. And then we end up and we can't understand why things are just simply not working. And it's the same for us in business. When we start to understand that we need to embrace a season, or we need to embrace a specific time that we're going through, it makes life so much easier. It actually starts to give a little bit more of a at ease feeling and a peaceful feeling around us, without taking negative energy, taking us to force a situation. Can you imagine what you are exerting? Just let's look at it from that point of view. We sometimes want a summer to be a winter because it's really getting hot, and it's true. That's just the way we are. We're never happy. Sometimes we just say, "Oh, it's so hot. I wish it would be colder. Oh, it's so cold. I wish it would be hotter." But there is something so beautiful about embracing what is happening right now. What do I have to do in that moment? It's like winter. It's like telling you, hey man, you need to sort of take care of yourself. You've got to make sure you're warm. You've got to protect yourself. And if you're in a very, very cold area, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's even areas where there are snow. You can't do the same thing. You simply can't wear the same clothes. You can't act the same way. You can't get up in the same way in the morning. It's a different waking up, because you might be waking up when it's dark. And in summer, it's completely the opposite. And you wear different clothes, and you live life differently to a great extent when there is a different season in our lives. And when we stand in business, I have learned that a lot of business owners are actually extremely frustrated because they just simply don't know how to do this. They, were sort of forced into a direction, and we don't want to be where we are, but why is it so quiet at the moment? Or why is that not happening for me right now? And then in a moment where we were supposed to get ready and prepare for the next season, you see, there's a reason for everything. We go into doing the wrong thing. We take the wrong action. We're not sensitive to what is happening in our business right now. Well, when we are sensitive to that, we would actually be far more like I say, peaceful, at ease, understanding that when it's quiet, it doesn't mean something is wrong. Sometimes people get anxious, we feel like, why is it now not, are the calls not coming in? Why are the people not just walking into my business? What is wrong now? And we start to criticize, and we go into a negative mindset instead of staying in the positive, and instead of understanding that this is simply a season, if I can put it, a season in your business. And you need to embrace. We need to step back, and we need to say, right, perhaps it's a little bit quieter right now because it's like nature. Let's go back to the original state of what everything in life is all about. We sometimes think ourselves out of that, which is actually normal. So as much as thinking and being wise and intelligent and learning a lot of things is wonderful, I could never negate that we need to gather knowledge of what we're doing, and you need to have skill. Very often, the mind takes over, and it does not give enough room for our instinct. as human beings, we've got an amazingly strong instinct. And if we start to run with the natural way of things, we sometimes find ourselves far more successful, because it's like being in a current. You know, when you swim in and you go with the flow, there's sometimes just an ease about it. It's just right there at that moment, and you move into it, you know. You don't fight against it, because you understand, if I'm going to go through this, I'm going to have to sort of use it to my advantage. And that is exactly what we need to do in business. Often we take that time and we look at it negatively. Our staff get negative because the leader of the company might feel threatened. And it's not supposed to threaten us at all. When we start to embrace a season, we start to master the season. So in order for us in business to go into it and to stay the course all the time, does not mean that everything around us is going to stay the same all the time. There's a definite fluctuation that's going to happen. And you and I need to teach ourselves. You and I need to become so skillful in understanding, am I there now? You know, what season am I in? Am I in a place where I just simply have to now embrace this? What's going on? Why is this coming in? Why is something happening? And then embrace it? Or no, I have to take a stand here. This is not right. This is not what should happen. So please also be aware of that. Now let's talk about a little bit of symptoms of a season. You know, winter has a way of getting rid of things that shouldn't be there. We can learn so much from nature. I saw a tree. I stay in the Western Cape, and we've been going through this extreme drought. And in my garden, there's a tree. And this tree, actually, right in the middle of summer, started going, you know, like autumn. The leaves started turning red and yellow, and I saw it started shedding its leaves. And I would have not really understood what's actually happening here, when a friend of mine made me aware of the fact that is that tree going into it's creating its own autumn, creating its own sort of winter, because in winter the tree does not get, the leaves draw water. Does that make sense? So now, in order for that tree to survive the drought, the tree goes into a place where it realizes, I need to get rid of what should now not be here any longer. There is a season where there's not going to be enough water to sustain me. So the tree actually goes into its own form of autumn and winter. And it sheds the leaves, because leaves takes a lot of water. Can you see how that can be so true for us in business? Very often, there's a time might come in where it's quieter, where the season is turning, and where something is not going as well, and maybe the sales are going a little bit down. It's no time to get anxious about it. It's not the time to get anxious about it. It is a moment to go back and say, what is there, perhaps in my business, that's taking too much? Maybe I'm spending too much money in certain areas. Perhaps there are too many staff members that I have put in the wrong places. Because you see, when it's like the summertime and things are happening and there's a lot going on and money is coming in and business is just booming, we lose track, because the business at that moment has a desire from us, and it says to us, I need you to just fulfill my every need now that's walking into my door, you see. So we go into spending too much. Not too much for now, because there is enough money to cover it. But perhaps we make a couple of decisions that is not 100% good for the whole period of time. So instead of changing things on a temporary basis, we change it on a permanent basis. So when winter comes, we think, oh my goodness, what now? Because I have increased my expenditure so much in order for me to cope with that specific time, that now there's winter and I don't get the income to do it. You see, so winter is a good thing. It gets us as business owners and as leaders in business, leaders of companies, you have to get your management team together and say, right guys, what should not be there? Where are we cutting? What should go? What should stay? So we can learn so much from nature, and I'd like to encourage you to never stop learning, because that is where the beauty comes in. That is where the rhythm comes in. You see, nothing in life is stagnant as life. A river, where it's just standing still, that water becomes poisonous. So we must not expect in our businesses that it's going to go the same all the time. We must not expect in our businesses that it's all the time, it's got to bloom and everything's just got to go well. That's fantastic. But there will be times where it's going to go quiet. And that's exactly the time where you say, this is cool, this is what I need now. I need to spend time with my staff. And now when I am in summer, we need to learn when it's booming and things are just coming in and the money is coming and the feet are coming and things are just going so well. We understand that the winter is going to come. It's inevitable that there's going to come a season where it's going to be a little bit quieter. There's going to come a moment where it's quieter, and we shouldn't be intimidated by that moment. We should be so excited about it, because in summertime, we put money away. We make sure that we store up, we put it into a sort of a, investment, put it into an account. Expect something is going to come. Don't let it get us down. So we stay the master at all time. You don't let the business start to run your life. You learn from it. You listen to it, because it's going to tell you. The business will tell us. we mustn't run ahead and try and do things that the business is not ready for. But when our businesses are ready, they actually really speak to us. They say to you, listen, man, I'm ready. Come, you need to open up. We have to get in more feet. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. What am I doing? And never get intimidated by what the business would tell you, but be in control. Understand, summertime, yes, I put my money away. I make sure that I do investments. I don't just keep on buying. I don't just keep on spending. I don't go into unnecessary debt or into debt at all. I mean, if there's enough money, why do you go into debt? That is the time when the finances are coming in, to actually get rid of debt, to make sure that we do things so wisely. Enough funds to carry us through the times when the winter season sets in. Winter is fantastic. It's a wonderful time. We need to understand, another example is when a big project comes in, we have to understand lifelines. How long is this going to be? Is this something that's going to be consistently in my business? Or is it only for a certain period of time? And then don't arrange that period of time don't see it as a permanency. In other words, when you then employ staff, perhaps employ it for the project. So you put them on a limited duration project. You have a specific budget, knowing that this is going to only be expected lifeline, say it's 6 months or a year or whatever, and you run it absolutely like that. We don't have to then go into a place and say, well, maybe it's going to last forever. We can't run things like that. We cannot run business like that. When something comes in, we have to understand, is this going to stay in my business? Is this an opportunity that will be there forever, or for as long as my business lasts? Or is this maybe something that is only going to bring me an income for a certain period of time? Please then manage that only for that period of time. You've only got this project running for that time. It is a beginning date, there's a possible end date. This is how much money I'm going to have to spend on it, and be precise on that. And make sure that when that project is finished, that there's enough value and enough money left over to carry once again the business. Can you see that? It's a season. It's a good thing. It is a good thing. Don't feel threatened. Even in our personal lives, sometimes people go through this. It's just a fact. We sometimes go through winter, and that winter and autumn and whenever you shed the leaves, I can just see it. There are people in our lives that disappear. It's a sad thing. But, when everything is going well and there's a lot of money around, then there's a lot of people sometimes around in your life as well. But the sad thing is when that disappears, sometimes you only find out then who are the true people that want to stay with you because they really just care about you and they love you. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the way life is. Fortunately, once again. So there's nothing wrong with a winter in life. There's nothing wrong with going through a season where maybe it is not so affluent. Maybe it's, I'm just going to... But what is better is if we expect it. you see. The reason we are going to go through those periods of time, the only thing that we need to do is we have to be wise. We've got to make sure that when that thing happens, I am fully prepared on it. This is, yes, I am going into it. I've got a backup. I've got backup funds. I've got investments. I didn't just take all my money and spend, you see. We have to. I cannot tell you as a business owner how strong you need to stand against overspending just because you want something. You know, there are such good ways to do things. There are far wiser ways to do things. In a project, we can rent things in. In a project, we can outsource. So there's another company that's got the setup already. So for the project, it's sometimes far better to rent that service into your business, you know, depending on at what stage of business you are in. But when you know there's an end date, you don't want that in your company any longer. You know you're not going to continue with it. So the expense is from here to there once again. So when we go through a winter time, don't feel threatened by it. When you go through a winter time in your own life and people disappear, just be so glad about it, because it's like that leaf. You see, leaves take a lot. It's in nature we see it. When a tree shed that leaf, he knows, I need to let go. There is just nothing. This is just drawing from me. And as a business owner and as a business or a corporate manager, whoever you are, driving an economic force, I want to say to you, need to be able to shed off that which is not good. That which is just continually drawing, continually drawing, continually drawing. Yes, there's a time where we have all of those things, but there is a moment that you need to start to cut, a moment that you need to let go. The moment, like you must see this tree in front of your eyes, and you have to just close your eyes and think, okay, may I not be perhaps in a moment, in a period of time, where the drought in my business, the drought in my life, and the drought in what's happening is not perhaps telling me, let go. Sometimes we hold on to things for way too long. Sometimes we hold on to certain things, you know, because I bought that thing when there was an enormous success in my business. And this thing is now, I paid so much money for it. And then you're going through a really bad time. You don't need that thing. Maybe you'll never need it again. But that thing, you know, brought me a lot of money at that moment. It's time to let go. I mean, really, just get into something new. Get into something good. Shed the leaves when it's time for it. If you understand that you're going to use it again and you understand you don't want to waste money again or spend money again on something, by all means be wise about it. I'm not saying not to be wise, but there is a moment that we need to just take that space and understand that we can learn so much from nature. Let it go. So until next week, this is me for today, and Let's Talk Business. It's Mishka Toth. I'm saying goodbye.